no, I thought I came here to prove something or to be, cannon fodder for somebody else or so, I didn't know what I came here for, but I didn't know I came here eagerly. And so ever since then, I have been on this fast track, I have to say,
Yeah.
because I'm towards the end of my life rather than the beginning of my life. I don't know how long I've got, but I know I'm on the back end of it and there's no time to waste. And so getting into the present right here, right now,
Yeah.
audaciously,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's it.
Eagerly and
Audaciously.
audaciously. I love it.
Eagerly and audaciously.
I
Yeah,
might change this to the
exactly.
Eager Podcast now. You got me excited. The Eagerly Living Podcast.
Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by my man, Audley Stephenson, the Odd Man.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, where our goal is simple yet profound. It's to help you live your best audacious life ever. It's always a pleasure to be here sharing insights and inspiration with you, and I truly appreciate you for spending some time out of your day to be with us. Together, we'll explore the art of embracing life courageously and authentically, guiding you towards greater personal empowerment and fulfillment. Now, imagine your life is a beautiful symphony with each note representing a different aspect of your being, your desires, dreams, and potential. To create a harmonious melody, it's essential to match the vibrations of those notes with the frequency of your true self. When you align your vibration with your desires, you not only manifest your aspirations, but also embark on a journey towards personal empowerment. It's about helping individuals remember who they truly are, giving them permission to pursue happiness and joy. In today's episode, we'll also discuss techniques to release limiting beliefs and focus on positive emotions, all while highlighting the importance of building connections with like-minded individuals who foster growth and support. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce our guest, Ramona Galey. Ramona is a vibrational mentor and an author of the book From Lonely to Fearless, with a background as a classical trumpet player and a deep connection of the teachings of Abraham Hicks. She helps people navigate their personal journeys towards empowerment and authenticity. Ramona's unique approach combines her rich experiences with profound insights, making her a powerful guide for anyone looking to elevate their lives. Ramona's work is incredibly relevant to our discussion today as she embodies the principles of matching one's vibration to navigate life's challenges and achieve personal empowerment. Her insights on recognizing and releasing limiting beliefs resonate deeply with the themes we aim to explore on this podcast. So, without any further ado, let's turn to our conversation with Ramona. Enjoy. Hey, Ramona, thank you for joining me here today on the Audacious Living Podcast. I appreciate you for making the time to be here. So thank you for doing this.
Audley, I am so glad to be here, and I'm really looking forward to our conversation. I'm loving the energy already, and let's do it.
Same here. No, thank you. And I know we I think we had a hiccup at least one, maybe two times trying to get this thing happening. And the best part about those hiccups, they don't matter anymore because in the past is what we're doing moving forward. And it's interesting. That's sort of a really interesting approach to life, even if you really think about that. We talk lots and often and always hear about living your audacious, best life, audacious life ever. And really what that encompasses is understanding that we're all on our own individual journey and our own individual pathway. And along that way, there's going to be things that happen that'll interrupt, that'll impede, get in become an obstacle. I oftentimes use an analogy, that boulder in our path, if you will, and it's incumbent on us to get up, over, around, through to get to the other side where all the greatness lies is waiting for us. And so maybe as a starting point, Ramona, if you perhaps just, enlighten our audience a little bit about who you are, the work that you do, and what's gotten you to the point that you're at now.
Absolutely. Well, Audley, I am on a trajectory unlike anybody else's, just like we all are, right? And it's just been so fascinating for me to look back over it. 10 years ago, I had no spiritual paradigm whatsoever. I had tried to meditate and I couldn't do it. And I had tried a lot of things. I'd tried, friends meetings and different kinds of churches and all this. And what happened was my partner, who was the absolute love of my life for 24 years, she died in my arms. And that's where it all started, because I saw no reason to stay. I was getting ready to follow her. Seriously, it wasn't a cry for help. I didn't tell anybody. I was just getting ready. And I had a couple of things I wanted to clear up before I left. And the phone rang and turned my life around, saved my life. And I started learning about positivity and I am the creator of my universe, and that I came here eagerly. I mean, I sobbed like a baby for an hour when I heard
Sure.
that the first time. I came here eagerly. Like, no, I thought I came here to prove something or to be, cannon fodder for somebody else, or so, I didn't know what I came here for, but I didn't know I came here eagerly. And so ever since then, I have been on this fast track, I have to say,
Yep.
because I'm towards the end of my life rather than the beginning of my life. I don't know how long I've got, but I know I'm on the back end of it, and there's no time to waste. And so getting into the present right here, right now,
Yeah.
audaciously,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's it.
Eagerly and
Audaciously.
audaciously. I love it.
Eagerly and audaciously. Yeah,
I might change this to
exactly.
the Eager Podcast now. You got me excited. Eagerly Living Podcast.
That's right. So, and the thing I love about audacious, as I was listening to you do your intro and thinking about that word, I was thinking, audacious is absolutely in the moment. It's right here, right now. You can't be audacious tomorrow.
No, no, no.
You can't be audacious yesterday.
It's so fascinating. Like it's funny how that word literally changed my life. And I say that from the standpoint of I was always kind of that outgoing, that always got kind of daring, always that courageous type of person, but didn't know it until that realization came and I made that connection. Like, oh, that's what that is. And when you start to, there's an expression that says, when you live your life forward, it's an art, but when you stop and look back, it's a science. So when I stop and look back at my life, I can see where all the dots connected. And I was like, oh, I needed to go here, to go here, to go there, to do this, or I wouldn't be where I'm at now, because we are really a collection of experiences. And when I did that analysis, that common theme, that red thread was that spirit of audacious existed in everything that I had done. Yeah. And so when I brought the subconscious to my conscious to go, no, well, this is how I absolutely want to be, how I want to live life, how I want to be intentional, how I want to show up for people, how I want to encourage others, it was a game changer for me. And so it really has, that realization really has changed my life. So as you talk about that, I can so relate.
Yeah, beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And as soon as I started feeling better, which didn't take long, I started learning some basic skills and
yes,
and some change, reframing, and I started feeling better and better and better and better and better. And pretty soon I was feeling well enough to start teaching it to others.
Yeah.
And, as they say, if you want to learn anything, teach it, So I learned it even better and better and better. And the one thing that I wanted was like a mentor, like a guide.
Yep.
And I started following Abraham Hicks. If you're familiar with Esther Hicks, she channels Abraham. And that's, was kind of the turnaround for me. I started listening to all those principles and doing all their exercises and talking to a lot of people. I went to a lot of the workshops. But my first career was as a classical trumpet player, if you can believe that. And so my background is when you want to learn something, you find somebody who knows how to do it, you pay them some money, you go and you sit down with them and you take what we call a private lesson, and they teach you how to do it. And then you go home and practice, and then if you still don't got it, you go back and you ask them again, it's a very straightforward kind of linear process. And so that's what I wanted for myself. I wanted a linear process to just be with someone, pay them some money for it, and be with them and just absorb that energy and just emulate everything they do and observe, their reaction to this and their opinion on that and their technique for this and just, absorb it and go fast, fast, fast. Well, I couldn't find anybody. Esther Hicks doesn't take private, students, and she does these large groups. So I'd go to these large workshops and, pick me.
Yeah.
And, so, and one time they did, but I went to probably 40 workshops. A lot of times they didn't. And so I had all these questions. And so that's actually brings us, kind of full way, all the way to today, because now I am that beacon of light, as Oprah likes to call it. The entity that I receive, or infinite intelligence that I receive, is named Oprah, not like Oprah Winfrey, just Oprah. And so when people have questions and they can come and ask Oprah directly, there's this huge fast track of enlightenment and audacious living and eagerness and joy and freedom that wasn't there before only it's just a perception. It's always there, but we don't perceive it because we got this, this bag over our head, or however you want to call
Yes.
that, this
Yes.
limiting belief set, or the past, kind of controlling my present, trauma and injury and
Yep.
loss. And so I teach people how to let go of everything that they don't want. And
Mm.
everything that you do want is already there. You just can't see it. It's like the sculptor, removing the part of the rock that is not
Yes.
the statue, right? You
Right.
just remove everything that doesn't belong, and what's left is this masterpiece. And we all have an audacious masterpiece within us. And
Hmm.
letting that out, oh,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
doesn't get any
Yeah.
better than
Yeah. Yeah.
that. Like, it's so fantastic.
It's a feeling, and I literally I can feel it from you that it's like like almost like you get to the top of that mountain and you're like, oh my gosh, this is it, right?
Yeah.
And it's all here, and that thing that you've been working towards get to the top. And now I've heard people say the top of the mountain is really lonely, not much going on there because it's the top of the mountain, and the process of the journey of being is really the key, which I absolutely agree with. But when you get to that top, there is that release, that freedom, that sense of aha, I've done it. And that's sort of what I equated to as I listen to you talk. And it's such a beautiful place to be.
Thank you, Audley. I am really appreciating your metaphor on so many different levels. First of all, I actually live on top of a mountain. This scene behind me, from
Yeah.
my back deck, this is North Georgia, and over there is Western North Carolina, which you've been
Okay.
probably hearing about in the news. That was the hurricane
Yes.
damage. So I am literally on the top of a mountain. And I have to tell you, yes, it's peaceful and quiet here, but it is no way lonely. There's
Gotcha.
no way lonely because at the top, and of course there is no real top. There's always another peak and another peak and
Yes.
another peak because
Yes.
we're humans. We always want more, but which is beautiful, right? So it's not lonely at the top, and this is one of the things that I help clients with, like, but if I keep this high vibration all the time and I feel really great all the time, my current friends or my family, they're uncomfortable with it. They're giving me blowback on this. They don't want me to say this. They don't want me to think that. They're trying to protect me from disappointment, or they say, who do you think you are, or like all of this, like, fear, right? Just basically the
Yeah.
opposite of
Yep.
love is fear.
Yep.
So it's not lonely at the top. I have made so many really, really, really wonderful friends that the second we met each other, we matched. And we knew each other from before somehow, like in our blood, in our cells, in our bones. And so there is this beautiful connection that when we are fully connected to ourselves, which means we are fully connected to whatever you want to call it, divine intelligence, some people
Yep.
call it God, source, whatever it is, whatever that connection is, it connects us to all that is, including the people that we were afraid of losing. We're just connected to them in a different way, in a new
Gotcha.
way, in a much more enjoyable, soothing way. And we start to see changes in the people all around us when we put, like the airline says, put your own oxygen
Yes.
mask on
Yes.
first,
Yes.
then help anybody who needs it. When we do that for ourselves, now we are a power of good and love for everyone around us. Anyone who's willing to receive it can receive it easily, and we give it from infinite. Where it's never a sacrifice to be loving anymore.
I love
So
it.
I love this new way of life. I would never go back to the old way. I just gotta say.
I'm super, super, super curious. You talked about receiving a phone call that helped sort of put you on this path. I'm curious. Can you sort of elaborate further? What happened there?
Absolutely. It was Betty, it was my partner. Betty's best friend was Lordella. And they were colleagues. They were both music educators and had become really, really good friends over the years. And Lordella called that day. It was about a week after Betty died, and my best friend had just left. She had stayed for the week after Betty's death to help me kind of get organized. I hadn't said anything to her about my plans, but I was walking around the apartment just crying I was devastated. I was just in a different, like, I don't even know how to say. So the phone rings and it's Lordella. She says, Ramona, I just heard about Betty. That's awful. So we hadn't really told anybody that she was sick or anything, and she had pancreatic cancer. So I said, yeah, so, and I was talking about whatever, I was focused on these rings that we had lost, these gold rings of Betty's. It was a stupid thing. It's not even worth mentioning, but I was talking about that. And she said, wait. You have to stop thinking like that right now. And I said, well, yeah, of course, but I'm 55 years old. I've been trying to control my thoughts my whole life. I don't know how to do that. It's impossible. And she said, well, have you ever heard of Abraham Hicks? I was like, I still laugh about this. I said, no, is that a disease? I thought that like Braxton Hicks, like I thought it's a disease. So she says, no, it's, and she starts telling me about Abraham Hicks and their basic message. And by the end of that, and here's the other thing, Lordella was probably about the only person in the world that I would have truly listened to in that moment, because she had just lost her beloved husband, Bert. And the way he died and the way she handled it afterwards. And I watched her go through that. And I remember even thinking back then, boy, I would not be handling this nearly as well as she is, right? So I really didn't understand even how she was having such grace. And so she was the one person that I felt like she really knew where I was in this moment and actually had something to help. So I listened. I'm pretty hard-headed sometimes, but this time I listened. I knew my life depended upon it. So she sent me some CDs that she had in the closet for just some reason. She'd been getting the subscriptions for like 25 years, and she had saved 2 particular years that turned out to be like the best years I could have ever listened to. And I went to the library and got some of the books that she was telling me about. They were on the shelf. They've never been on the shelf ever since. They're always checked out. That day they were both on the shelf. I went and got them real quick. And then, of course, I ordered them from Amazon. And I just started studying. I just threw myself into it. And I studied and I studied and I studied and I attended all these workshops. And I just had a huge desire. And I know that there are people out there that are going through a similar experience in life right now. They say at any given moment, there's, X numbers of millions of people giving birth or dying or, eating breakfast or whatever. So there are people out there that have a strong desire like I did and like I still do, that I love to connect with. And whatever that is, whatever that means, when we're positive and uplifting and with a huge desire, because what I've learned since then is that our desires are divine. I was taught to resist and to actually belittle my own desires, to think that they were dirty or wrong, somehow inappropriate. When I learned that my desires are actually divine, that your desires are actually divine, first of all, people, when they hear that, and a lot of times their heads explode, which is always fun. But my desires are divine. Your desires are divine. We are actually fueling the expansion of the universe through our desires. That's why there's always one more peak. And this is a good thing. This is a beautiful thing. It's a purely loving thing. And so I really, 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 really enjoy helping people navigate all of that and kind of put it into context within our, modern culture that tells us no so much. We say yes. Love it. They say no. We say yes.
No, I absolutely love it. It's kind of that, I'm going to call it an awakening, if you will. It's when that happens, it really, really is a game changer. Early in the conversation, you mentioned the phrase high vibration. You call yourself a vibrational mentor. Just for our audience, if we can explain and maybe have them understand sort of what, when you talk about vibrations, what we're talking about, and then maybe if we can tie that into why that even matters to us individually.
Absolutely. Wow. Great question. So I chose the title Vibrate. It's a title I made up. Nobody's ever heard of it before because I made it up. But so vibrational, because we are vibrational beings. If I'm very angry or very ashamed, I'm going to be vibrating at one level. If I'm very happy and euphoric, I'm going to be vibrating at a different level. Just like sound is a vibration, everything's a vibration. The table here is vibrating. Yep. The atoms are vibrating and within a bunch of space, and we don't see it, we don't feel it because it feels solid to us, but that's actually, we could get under a super duper microscope, that's what's happening. And so everything is vibrational. And so when we want something, the best way to get it is to find the vibration of it and match that vibration. When we match like that, then all of the obstacles are, leaf, debris just kind of fall away, and we go just like that, just like a magnet. And so this is, the secret and the law of attraction and all this stuff, all of which is taught and practiced by quite a few people in a cerebral way, which is not the vibrational way. So I say vibrational mentor because I don't really consider myself a teacher and not even really a coach. I mentor, which means I role model. Yes. I just like those teachers, those trumpet teachers that I would go to them and say, how do you do this? Well, quite frequently, the first thing they'd do would be play it for me. And sometimes that was all I needed, was to sit close enough to somebody who was actually doing it. I didn't know this then, but I was absorbing their vibration, internalizing it, and then expressing it, becoming it. And then all of a sudden I could play it too, whatever it was that I had been struggling with. So this is vibrational mentorship, the role modeling, the specific feedback on you, in other words, the client's specific vibration. So Oprah feels their vibration and says, wait a minute, your words right now are not matching your vibration. A lot of people will come in and say, oh, I'm afraid of this and this. And Oprah will say, we feel no fear in your vibration. We think you should stop using that word and start understanding that that's an old momentum. You used to be afraid of it. It is still in your current condition, but you're no longer afraid of it. You can let go of that. And boom, just like that, instant transformation. So vibrational mentor, I think it's the most powerful thing anybody could do is to be aware of and control isn't the right word, but to decide, to intend their own vibration. Everything changes for the better when you start doing that. Everything.
Yeah. Well, and part of the be aware part that I think is important and something that people often forget is the language and the words that we choose, or how we describe not only just ourselves, but our situations, our outlook on life. We've all been in those conversations. You say to somebody, how you doing? And they're like, fine, but they don't look fine and they're acting fine, right? Like that is part of what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
And while to many it's a small, not a big deal part, it actually really does, because that helps frame how things move forward.
Yes, absolutely. If you're not aware of your own language and you're not aware of the power of your own word, then it's a huge breakthrough to become powerfully aware of that and to start noticing, oh, I use that word should. I've been shoulding on myself, as I like to say. So don't be shoulding on me, don't be shoulding on yourself. And so as soon as I hear, oh, I should, okay. So that's like a clue, right?
Yes.
And once you start doing that and your life starts getting so much better, and this is the fascinating part to me. Your life starts getting better. You're choosing your words more carefully. You're taking them as clues. And then you hit this, I call it pitfalls at the peak. I've got a presentation I do, pitfalls at the peak. You get to this peak and then you're like, yeah, but now I feel like I'm going backwards. There's nowhere else to go. Or this thing that used to work up until now all of a sudden stopped working. Or I feel like I've got this block that I can't figure out what it is. I've got this glass ceiling. Like, what's next? Like, I want more and I don't know how to get it. That's when you have to really understand that words are truly the best way to use words as an invitation to the essence. When we think that the words are the essence, we can fool ourselves into thinking we're still doing the work, but we're just paying kind of lip service to it. And so you get a certain amount of trajectory and you reach this kind of a plateau, let's say, then you have to really say, okay, I need to get back into the vibration of those words, not just the words themselves. Like the vibration of, like you said, somebody says, I'm fine, you can tell their vibration is not fine, even though they're using the right word. Exactly. So how do we get out of our heads and back into our bodies, which is where we were born? You pinch any baby, they're going to cry. They're not going to go, oh, I guess I should be, good and be quiet. No, no. And they're going to say, dang, I'm hungry. You got to feed me now. They're not going to say, that's okay, I'll wait. I'll just sit here in the dark and try to read, like that whole martyrdom thing that we all do so well.
They're going to be.
Like, all of that stuff starts to fall away when you get vibrational about the whole thing.
Yes. Yeah. The baby, you pinch a baby, the baby is going to be, right. And be exactly who they are, which actually I think is a really good segue into understanding our individual gifts and abilities. We all have them, right? We're all here. Again, I talked about that path, right? We all got our own path and our unique gifts and abilities that we have are designed for the journey that we are to embark on. We've got to take that step and go on that journey. That's a whole other piece, but that journey still has to be that journey. I was going to say that journey should be taken, but that journey needs to be taken. But the gifts and abilities, I wonder if you sort of talk about, well, I guess two parts, the idea of uncovering or discovering them. And I use that language very deliberately, uncover and discover, because that means they were always there, as
Yes.
opposed to let me go and learn how to be a happy person and I can be, yeah, I'm a happy
Yeah.
person, or it's they were always there. They had to be uncovered, and then the process of being able to use them for the benefit of others. Because I think that's a piece in this where we don't recognize that I need to be who I am to allow others to do the same.
Absolutely. You give other people permission, and most humans need permission for whatever reason. You give other people permission to be themselves when you are yourself, right? So yeah, absolutely. And that whole hidden gifts idea, that concept, you know, permission and focus, right? When we give ourselves permission to be happy,
Yes.
and that can be a revolutionary act for most of us, right? I give myself permission to be happy. That means I trust myself not to turn into a pervert or a gambler or an addict or whatever it is that I'm afraid that I am inside, and allow and to just take a step of faith and say, okay, I give myself permission to be happy, to find out to at least explore a little bit, what does that mean for me? And then the next question is, how do I do that? I do it through my focus.
Yeah.
We all have the ability to focus. Just like a camera, we can take the camera lens and point at different places and say, okay, I want that picture. And I want it in this kind of, framework, or this kind of blurriness or clarity or whatever. We do the same thing, only we're taught from the day we're born not to kind of pretend we don't have that ability. Like, teacher says, don't focus on that bird singing outside. Focus on what I'm saying right here. And if you don't, you'll get in trouble, even though that bird's much more enjoyable and much more educational, probably. So we learn to cede our rights, our sovereign rights to focus, to choose our own focus. So when we start to remember, and I really feel like that's why I say I'm not a teacher. I help people remember who they truly are and what they actually want.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell them anything. I'm going to help it emerge from within on their platform, within their genre, their milieu, their medium.
Yeah.
It's all them. And it's the most beautiful thing in the whole world to be present with someone who's just blossoming like that. It is so magnificent.
Ramona, I love the language around helping them remember who they are, right? This isn't anything brand new. We know exactly who we are and what we're supposed to be doing. Maybe we've forgotten, which is why they need the memory, or maybe there's other things. Maybe there's fears or childhood traumas or certain experiences, or maybe you're in a bad relationship or something that's getting in the way of helping you see that person in the mirror. But the language around helping people remember is absolutely wonderful. I'm glad you said that. I really am.
Well, and remember, the focus eliminates all those things.
It does.
I mean, it's not through suppression or, and we're not even ignoring it. We're just simply not focusing on it because we're choosing to focus on what feels good. When we do that, the other falls away naturally. It loses all of its momentum, all of its energy, any charge, any juice that it used to have. It just seeps back into the ground and decomposes. It's just the most natural process in the whole world.
It is. And I just, what I truly love about this conversation that we're having is it's putting people on the path to personal empowerment, right?
Yeah.
And you get there, and then with that empowerment, you're now able to see, everything far more clearly. Your focus, the clarity, all of these things that allow you to live that life you're supposed to. So again, on that path route, I'm able to see the whole path now because I'm really clear on where I'm going, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that piece around empowering people to see where they need to go is just it's powerful.
It really is. It really is. It's transformative, and it's so beautiful to participate in personally for myself and also to facilitate for others. I can't imagine doing anything else. Nice. And I think we're all doing it. And anybody who's following their passion, whether that's horseback riding or even like stock trading or whatever it is,
right?
When we're doing it with heart, from our heart, when we're doing it because it's the most uplifting thing that we can think of to do, and when we're having a positive impact on others, we can all be completely different. This is true diversity. This is what I think of as true diversity. I do me, you do you, and wherever we overlap, it's beautiful because we're both, all of us, doing what we're led to, what we've been born to do, what we've been called to do. There is nothing but love in all of that. There is no conflict. There need never be any conflict.
Yeah. I love it. This is wonderful. That's just so wonderful. You're an author too, Ramona. I would be remiss if we didn't sort of give our audience an opportunity to learn about some of your works.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I wrote From Lonely to Fearless. I wrote that last year. And that was my first book. I'm actually working on my second book now, Stop Overthinking, and it's all overthinking. And I don't know when that's going to come out. It's been in spits and spurts. The first one just absolutely fell out of me. Like it just, there was no stopping it. I came back I had gone on a photo safari and I was gone for a month. I was off grid. Totally, like off grid, like most people don't know like what off grid is, right? So I knew, I set the intention when I left. I knew when I came back, everything of my previous life was going to be kind of like, laying around like at a garage sale, like on tables and on the ground and stuff. And I could just walk through and choose what to buy. I could choose to pick up that and that. Oh, and 2 of those, please. Nothing else. And so that's exactly what I did. When I came back, I only repicked up the things that just gave me the most joy. And that left a huge vacuum, which this book flowed into.
Lovely.
It's like I prepared the vessel and it just, so lonely is a kind of a placeholder in my mind. So lonely, it's kind of like hungry. So quite frequently we can be very upset about something or be very bored or thirsty or tired. And we can say, I'm hungry and I'm going to go eat to fill this need. And so lonely is kind of like that. Lonely is basically disconnected from self. And we can look for love in all the wrong places. We could go and find it in the bottom of an alcoholic bottle. We can find it in shopping. We can find it in talk. We can find it so many places. But when we come back to ourselves, loneliness disappears because we're connected to all. And then the appearance of loneliness then follows very quickly behind that. So now I've got lots of friends. Now I've got, places to go. Maybe I've got things to focus on. I've got things that I feel strongly about that really deeply resonate within me and are very fulfilling to do or to think about or to say. And so fearless, so that's lonely. So fearless is authenticity. That's all it is. It's not about going out into battle or being willing to, protest the man or any of that stuff. It's about who am I? And I don't mean honesty. When I say authenticity, I mean, am I comfortable being seen for exactly who I am? That's authenticity. That's fearlessness. Nobody can control me if I know exactly who I am and I like myself. I love myself. I can feel the love of source flowing through me, supporting everything I'm doing. When I know that my desires are divine, when I know that I am appropriate, I am good, I am pure love. Nobody can control me. Nobody. That's fearlessness.
And that is a great place to be. It truly is. It truly is. And this has been a great place to be today, Ramona. Thank you so much. This has been just a wonderful dialogue. And I so appreciate the energy, the passion, and the love for what you do. It's just pouring out of you. Much like your book fell out of you, it pours out of you. And I can see it loud and clear. And that's a beautiful thing because those you work with will definitely benefit. For audience members that perhaps want to connect with you directly and learn more about your work, where could we send them?
Oh, the best place to go is RamonaGaley.com. I have my social media connections there. You can learn about the Alignment Circle, which I founded last year. It's a small group VIP program. I'm getting ready to start Alignment Foundations, which is a larger and more accessible group. I have private sessions. I have my book. I have podcasts. I have blogs. I have all kinds of stuff. So just come and find me on RamonaGaley.com. I would love to hear from you. Use the contact us form. Drop me a note, and I would love to hear from you.
We'll also make sure that the show notes will have the appropriate contact information as well. So there's no excuse why people can say they didn't know where you're at. We're going to make sure that they do. Ramona, thank you. This has been such a delightful time. I really appreciated sharing with you. Love the insights, love the energy, and love the passion for your work. Congratulations, and thank you for being here on the Audacious Living Podcast.
Thank you so much, Audley. I have a lovely time, and I love your energy, and I've enjoyed this conversation immensely. So thank you so much.
Back we are on the podcast, and much of thanks and appreciation goes to Ramona for being here. In our conversation, one of the main points that struck me was the idea of vibrational mentorship. Ramona emphasized that we are not just teachers or coaches, but rather role models who help others absorb and internalize the positive vibrations necessary for growth. It's a beautiful reminder that we all have the power to influence one another positively. I personally love how she illustrated the concept of focusing on what feels good, allowing us to connect with our true selves and let go of the noise that often clouds our vision. By focusing on what uplifts us, we naturally create space for our desires to manifest and our authentic selves to shine. I encourage you to connect with Ramona directly to learn more about her work and her insights. You can find her contact details in the show notes below. She's currently offering a VIP program called the Alignment Circle, where you can join a supportive community focused on personal growth and empowerment. Be sure to, again, check out all those details in the show notes below and take advantage of this fantastic opportunity. I want to thank you for joining us today on another edition of the Audacious Living Podcast. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please consider following, subscribing, or sharing, because that's how we continue to grow this podcast and reach even more people. Remember, living audaciously is a journey, and we have to support each other every step of the way. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.
You've been listening to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by Audley Stephenson. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, be audacious.